Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders welcome Russell Wilson and the Steelers to town on Sunday. Can Jaden Daniels continue his high-level play against TJ Watt and this Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
Can't wait to find out. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. The whole Washington Commander offense is playing really, really well. And they hit you a lot of different ways. But the most impressive thing about this offense, they've had 3 turnovers all year long. They got a rookie quarterback. They got young players all across the board. A lot of people touching the ball, a lot of moving parts, zone reads, a lot of ball handling, a lot of catches, a lot of runs after catches. Only 3 turnovers. That's why they're 7-2. They protect the football. They execute at a high level, and their quarterback doesn't make many mistakes. He's missed a couple throws here and there like every other quarterback in the league, but when the given throws are there, he hits them. And then the off-schedule plays, he's as good as anybody in the National Football League. Hell, last week there was a free nickel coming off the edge. Should have been a loss of 8. He just, made a miss, gained a 20. I mean, these type of plays that he makes on a routine basis, he makes them look effortless. And the offensive line is playing pretty well for him. I love what they're doing. I love what Cliff is doing with the run game. And then, of course, scary Terry McLaurin is making big plays down the field. Noah Brown, OZ, they're all making plays. Everybody has their hand in the pot, and they're executing a high level. I love watching this team. This is the most fun team to watch in the NFL, in my opinion, right now.
Like you said, their run game is awesome. They're getting lots of movement up front. Their play action, some of these dudes are wide open. Into the game last week, they hit a little sail route. I mean, there was nobody around them, right? Cliff has it dialed. They're playing great, but they're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, TJ Watt. Justin, tell me about the trouble that this front from Pittsburgh is going to cause for Washington. And who knows, we might see even Preston Smith playing alongside those guys this week.
Yeah, Preston Smith getting traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which adds to already one of the best fronts in football right now. You look at Alex Highsmith, you look at TJ Watt, you have Cam Hayward, who's been playing at a high level for almost 15 years in the NFL. So it will be tested. That run game will be tested of the Commanders. And you're right. Jaden has been dynamic. They were without Brian Robinson last week. He'll be a key to coming back because Brian Robinson really sets that tone of physicality for the Commanders. And the Pittsburgh Steelers pride themselves on physicality. And we talked about TJ earlier on this season. He is a closer. You look at what he did a few Monday nights against the Giants. He comes up with the game-winning strip sack to win that game. This is going to be a battle of the trenches. Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach from the Commanders, has that unit playing much better than I think most people anticipated. This will be their toughest test yet. They actually went out and played very well against Dexter Lawrence and the New York Giants D-line. It doesn't get any easier this week with TJ Watt and company come to town. It will be a great dynamic matchup. And one key that the Commanders also added today, Marshawn Lattimore. The Commanders were a little weak on that secondary, and he comes in and shores up that cornerback 1, cornerback 2, whatever you're going to call him in that scenario.
AQ, Justin hit on it, but talk about the challenges of not blocking only the edge, but a guy like Cam Hayward, who's been in the league for years and years and years, he's just stout, right, from an interior lineman perspective.
Whenever you used to play against the LA Rams and they had Von Miller and, just some pass rushers on the edge, you could attack that, right? You could run a lot of counters and, pull the guard down the line and kick those guys out because they wanted nothing to do with the run game. And now whenever you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got great edge guys. They just added a dynamic guy today, obviously, right? But they also, Benton and Cam Hayward and the guys, Ogunjobi, right? Like, they got guys everywhere. And so there's no place where you can sit there and say, hey, here, we're going to attack this in the run game. And so they saw a little bit of that against the Giants this past week. They go against Dexter, and they had a great scheme against it. So they're going to have something. I mean, they were pinning and pulling the center around. They were doing a lot of eye candy. I mean, the one where Eckler breaks it for 30, they run man scheme to the right with like a zone read going back with Jalen. The run's going this way. So, I mean, Cliff's got it all dialed up right now.
This is going to be a fun one to watch. Jay, talk about Mike Tomlin. Where does he rank from the standpoint of current NFL head coaches, and does he get enough credit for the consistency that he's brought to the Steelers since I got in the league 14 years? I mean, he's been there forever. Like, where does he rank in your mind?
He and I used to share office together. He, myself, and Raheem Morris back in the old Tampa Bay Buck building days had some good times with Mike T. And I always knew he was going to be really good with the players. He was really good with Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly and those guys at Tampa Bay. I just got great rapport with them. He knows how to talk to them, knows how to motivate guys. He's very smart when it comes to not only football, but how to motivate football and get the most out of each individual. And I think that's why he's lasted so long. Not to mention he walked into Pittsburgh. Big Ben was a hell of a quarterback. They had a hell of a defense, but his mentality really transferred well. Ryan Clark, Troy Polamalu, he had some great players on defense, but his mentality rubbed off on the players. And he's able to get that type of culture instilled in Pittsburgh at a consistent rate and draft the players that fits what he wants, free agents that fits what he wants. And if they don't fit, he gets rid of them. And then offensively, they've had their struggles, but their defense, their physicality has been the way of Mike Tomlin. He's been consistent about it. His approach to the players, to the game of football has been consistent, and it's paid off. Now, he hasn't won a playoff game in some time. He's getting a little bit of heat over that. But I think whenever you're a head coach and you last this long in the National Football League in one spot, you're doing a hell of a job, and Mike has done a hell of a job.
Before we continue with the video, I have to ask one favor. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and turn on those notifications. If you like this type of content, if you like hearing us talk football, hit that notification button. So every time we drop a video, it is coming straight to you.
Talk about these quarterbacks, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels, Russell Wilson, talk about Mike Tomlin and all the decisions he's had to make and how he builds a team. He obviously knew what he was doing when he put Russell Wilson back out there. But this is a pretty good matchup. Look, Jaden Daniels is going to have his hands full with this pass rush. But what do you see with these QBs this week, and who do you think is going to come out on top?
It's going to be a great matchup. I think the key is going to be the rookie left tackle, Brandon Coleman's going to have to show up in a big way. He played great last week against Brian Burns, held him to nothing. But this is a hell of a matchup when you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And obviously Russell's had a couple of good games. But Washington's defense, they're playing as good as anybody the last 5 weeks. They're stopping the run. They're doing a pretty good job. The Giants Tyron Tracy had a pretty good game against them last week. So they had some holes there. But overall, their defense has produced pretty well the last 5 weeks. So I'm anxious to see how each offense attacks the defense they're playing against. And that's going to be the key. Ball security is going to be the key. Red zone efficiency is going to be the key. But third down is going to be really important for both teams to stay out of third down and long and known passing situations. I don't think any team's going to really have a lot of success in known passing situations with the pass rushes of each team. Dante Fowler stepped up for Washington. Frankie Louvu, they put him on the edge. They have some good blitz packages with Wagner. They do a good job. This guy, Newton, this rookie from Illinois, is playing really good for Washington. So both teams have really good pass rushers, can get after the quarterback. That's why you got to be very, very good on first and second down to eliminate these known passing situations.
AQ, how do you see this game going down?
Pretty similar, right? I mean, I think Pittsburgh surprises me every week because, like, whenever I sit there and watch them, I'm like, I don't love the quarterbacks. I don't really love their offensive line. I certainly don't love the receivers. Obviously, they made a trade today and they get another guy in Mike Williams. But like for me, I don't like when you sit there. This is why Mike Tomlin's doing such an amazing job. He's been there forever. He's consistent. He gets the best out of the guys. But it starts with that defense. I just think it's going to be tough sledding for the Commanders, and I think they're going to have to pivot. But I also think they're going to have a really good game plan. I mean, they've been game planning people up and scheming people up all year long. Cliff's done a fantastic job. I mean, it's going to be a barn burner. I really think that. I think it's going to go back and forth. I do think the Commanders are the better team, and I think they win. I love that Jay brought up Newton because Justin and I were real high on him coming out in the draft when we did that last spring. They are playing better on defense, and it starts with Bobby Wagner, and he's been playing great, and they're blitzing a lot more and doing a lot more things there. But they're going to have to stop Pittsburgh's offense and stop the moon ball that Russell Wilson throws.
What's very impressive about Pittsburgh, too, is they bring in this Pruitt guy at Washington and Freiermuth, these 2-3 tight end sets. And I think Najee Harris has had one of the best years of his career, really. He's running hard. And they do a really good job with all the different type of runs they have. And that's what Russell Wilson can really play off of with his bootlegs and his play actions. And then the moon balls like AQ saying to George Pickens or Calvin Austin, whoever it is. So the running game is what sets up everything for Pittsburgh. That's Arthur Smith's mentality. That's his MO. Run between the tackles, use multiple tight end sets and pound you into oblivion and then pull it out and drop a deep ball to George Pickens or Calvin Austin, whoever it might be.
Want to win money watching football? With Underdog, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash just by picking higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, like whether or not your team's running back will score a touchdown this weekend. Millions of fans have won billions of dollars on Underdog. Will you be next? Sign up now to get a free pick for your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Download the Underdog app or visit UnderdogFantasy.com to get started today. I'm going to go higher rushing yards for Najee Harris because I just think that he's very similar to Joe Mixon this year. He's getting 100 yards a clip every single week, not because of his offensive line, in spite of his offensive line. And I think he does it again this week because he does a great job when nothing's there, bouncing, stiff arm, down the sideline, and breaks off a 20, 25-yard run. So I'm going to go higher rushing yards.